Very beautiful room, as you can see, small and perfectly formed, and yeah, so it's really nice. These colours, the sort of blue and white, are the traditional Amalfi Coast colours, usually with a bit of yellow as well. Sometimes you get a bit of coral in there too, and I just want to show you the view because this is quite spectacular. So as you can see, the shutters are down at the moment. If I can just remember to work them, we'll be laughing. The big reveal, and this is what I can see from my hotel room. I've opened the door and you can probably hear the rain now. And this isn't a 4K shot, this is an HD one done on the old iPhone. But it does give you an idea of what it's like. But as you can see, the weather is absolutely appalling. And we've just got to hope it improves. It's supposed to improve on Wednesday and Thursday. And Thursday will be my last day here. So we've got to hope for the best. I have been here before in the rain, but not as much as this. So I'm just going to have to suck it up and deal with it, I guess. I'm feeling a bit dry because I haven't had a proper drink yet. I haven't had a drink since about 6 o'clock last night. It's Monday. It's, let me see, it is coming up to 2 o'clock Italian time. And I've got my Capri watch on, as you can see, and I'm getting into the spirit of things. But it has to be said, I've spent the weekend before I flew over looking at weather forecasts, and this really is quite bad. I was hoping to do an opening shot of me in the back of an open top taxi flying up the hill, and that did happen, but it wasn't open top and there was no point filming because it's pouring down here. So we'll see what happens. I was hoping for great weather and I've got an itinerary and a schedule worked out, but I'm just gonna have to work around it, so you're not essentially going to see it the way I've seen it many times in the past, or if only for a short period of time, and we'll just see what comes out of it. So I am a bit down about it really, because it's cost me a lot of money and I've been planning it for ages, but you know, it is what it is. Right in front of you, you can see there's this little sort of roof terrace, and beyond that there's a buff coloured building. That's the Hotel Kisisana, which started life as a hospital a long time ago, became a hotel, and in the late 19th century Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas Bosie were refused service there because, of course, they'd been doing things which weren't approved of back in merry old England. I'm very tired. I got up this morning at 2, got the bus at 3, airport Bristol at 6, and I say it's now nearly 2 o'clock. So it's been quite a long day, but I'm used to that journey, which is good. So I'm just sort of get myself together now. I think I'm going to get the GoPro and go out and have something to eat and drink. As you can see, I have the small bag and the coat ready. I have a lot of other kit with me as well, but I've gone for the Italian style. You see a Ferrari bag here. This is a new one. I used to have one just like it, but it wore out. And I've got a white one and a green one as well. There's a Paul and Shark decoration there. That's a sort of local brand. And I got this in Sorrento. My partner got me this in Sorrento ages ago. It's got a little turtle on it somewhere. Yeah, there's a little turtle there. There you go. I can't give how wet it is, and I just come out and I was hoping to get a cup of cannoli and a coffee at one of the cafes, and they're rammed with people. who are all wearing these bizarre ponchos and have their umbrellas up. It's absurd, but it looks like there used to be a restaurant here that Rilke used to go to, Walter Benjamin, who's really important to my theories about modernism and postmodernism. He's important in that way anyway. And also Roger Peffret, who wrote the novel The Exile of Capri, which is about Baron Jacques Davenport-Fersen. He was a bit of a hero of mine. He was one of the key figures of literary Capri. So yeah, anyway, this little bit here, which I'm going to show you now, I apologise for being so wet. There's a really nice little courtyard, which is down a little alley out the back of the bookshop Concilia, which is Capri's own bookshop and small press. And normally you come out here and it's sunny and idyllic, and as you can see, it's not too great at the moment. But this is Concilia, the bookshop, which I've patronised many times, and they do some fantastic books about Capri. Some of them are multilingual, and I'm just seeing here they've done a book about the Marchesa Casati. Luisa Casati, who, as you can see, looked like a goth a long time before anybody, back in the early 20th century. She used to come and stay here at Axel Monte's villa, San Michele. This was in about 1919, 1920, and she later had a villa in Venice, which was never finished, and now it's the Peggy Guggenheim Foundation. So as you see, the books are absolutely fantastic. I only buy the ones with English text, and this one down the bottom here, pink livery. I've actually got the English version of that, which you'll see in the blue livery on the far right. So yes, fantastic place. We may as well go and have a look around. The bookshop really is a haven in the rain. There's something happening here with Fersen. Interesting. Absolutely beautiful. Your books are so lovely.
Thank you.
It's a nice new edition of the story of San Michele. Yeah, I'll probably pick that up later in the week because I could do with a new copy. Absolutely beautiful. And there's a copy of H.G. Wells, A Dream of Armageddon. I'm going to talk to you about that later in the week on the vlog. Who'd have thought the story of H.G. Wells set here? It's a very good one as well. But yeah, whenever I come here and stay, I usually drop in 2 or 3 times at least because it's so fantastic. And it's the sort of place where I can usually get presents or friends. So this is what a real Italian small press bookshop looks like. And you'll see lots of familiar names from around Europe and America in their Italian editions. But for me, it's the books that Concilia, which means seashell, produced themselves, which are the real stars of the show. Absolutely gorgeous. Do you still have the shop in Anna Capri?
Yes.
Do you have a pop-up as well? Sometimes you have a third pop-up shop? Absolutely lovely. I will be back later in the week with some money.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It looks beautiful as always.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to show you a view of the outside. Luckily this GoPro is completely waterproof, so that's great. But yeah, now that's a bookshop window. admit defeat, and I'm soaked to the skin, but I'm fortified now by the world's largest and most beautiful cannoli and a cappuccino and a pint of Nastro Azzurro, the Blue Ribbon, which is the road that runs down the Amalfi Coast. And yeah, I'm still really tired, but I just want to be outside even though it's really, really wet. So this is Piazza Umberto I, known as the Piazzetta locally. That's a diminutive, which is weird because it's a longer road. And I've just been at Cafe Cazzo, and there are 4 cafes on this square, and I'll show them to you later in the week. And this really is the sort of social hub and centre of Capri. Everybody says that, but it is kind of true. Now behind me, you should be able to see Vesuvius. In this weather, you'd be lucky to see anything. The building immediately behind me plays the part of a hotel in the Hollywood film It Started in Naples, aka Capri, which was made in the early 60s. There's Clark Gable and Sophia Loren, and it's where Clark Gable, who's a sort of unlikely romantic lead at that point, because it's his last but one film, his penultimate film before The Misfits, and he sort of comes to Italy to look after some sort of inheritance his brother has left, and his brother left a child in Italy, probably from during the war, and he ends up falling in love with Sophia Loren. It's all very unlikely, but it's good fun. So I thought we'd take a walk to Belvedere Canone, and this is one of the medieval parts of the town, and of course it goes back a long way, and I've only actually been up here once, so I'll show you what it's like. Covered, as you can see, which is absolute bliss. There are places like this dotted all over the Amalfi Coast because, of course, it's very mountainous. Capri is limestone, most of it around here is volcanic rock, but this is fairly typical of places like Trani and Amalfi, which are effectively the same place, and the sort of vertiginous places you find. Of course, the beauty so much of places is in the detail, and this little entrance to this little house here, and what you can see beyond you there is Monte Solaro, which is the 2,000-foot peak which separates Anna Capri, literally above Capri, from Capri town. And the flowers here are fairly typical of sort of colours that you'll see on the Amalfi Coast. Bougainvillea is a big thing, but yeah, look at this. A real relief to get away from the crowds, and this is what I mean about it. You know, it's a very busy place and it's a very touristy place, but you don't have to go far from all the obvious stuff to find something beautiful. Hang on, let's have a look at this little restaurant, Oceana Classic. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous, lovely. So this is the thing, the island is 4 miles square, which is tiny. So if you spend some time here, you can get to know it really well. So what is it about this place that entrances me? Well, it's hard to say really. It's very beautiful. You can't really tell that now, but from about the mid 19th century onwards, Capri was discovered big time by writers, painters, intellectuals, composers. So it's got an amazing cultural history, which I hope to show you over the course of these videos. Something I really love about the island is the trees, like that tree directly in front, slightly towards the right. The trees in Italy are just so beautiful. And yeah, so here's a view over the Moneta and Tiberio districts, and the high peak there shrouded in mist is Tiberio. And up there, I'm going to take you up there soon, not today obviously because it's too wet, and show you Baron Fersen's villa, and also Villa Jovis, which is where the Emperor Tiberius ruled the known world for the last 8 to 9 years of his life. Another great thing about Capri is the architecture. There's all sorts of houses here. There is a predominant style, which is usually painted white with lots of curves. Quite common in the Mediterranean. You get some of the things in Greece, of course. I really love this house. It's fantastic. All the village you see things like this, not always religious figures. What do we have here? Well, those rocks, which are world famous, which you'll see better as I come around to the Belvedere now, are called the Faraglioni, which translates as the stacks. So we'll take a proper look at those in a moment. Look at this lovely little, look at that, when you imagine that outside your garden, just this is a view down to a house, and yeah, there's a seagull. Look, they live over here as well as in the UK. Surprise, surprise. So we're coming towards the end of Belvedere Canone now, which I've only been to once before, and that was in 2016, and that was a fairly wet time as well. Not as wet as this, I have to say. But here we go. So we're looking out here south over the Tyrrhenian Sea. Of course, the Adriatic is on the other side of Italy, and down there, that's Marina Piccolo. Now Piccolo means small, so Marina Piccolo means small port, and no ferries or anything pull in there. There are beach clubs and hotels and what have you. It's very nice. And as you can see, there's houses sort of perched up, and that's the edge of Monte Solari. You'll see in the centre of the cliff there quite a big grotto, a big cave, because that's what grotto means, of course. And I'm going to take you up there tomorrow, hopefully, or maybe the day after. But yeah, normally from here you get, you know, it's turquoise sea and it's very beautiful, but today obviously it's a bit compromised. But the Faraglioni, the stacks, legend has it these are the rocks from where the siren sang in the Odyssey. The other theory is that from a different part of the Odyssey, that they are the rocks which Polyphemus, the Cyclops, threw at Odysseus, Ulysses. And that terracotta building there is the Hotel Trigara, which wasn't built by Le Corbusier, but he was a big fan of it. So yeah, so you're seeing Capri at its wettest here. Just down there you can see another Belvedere, and that's by the Augustan Gardens. That's one of the most popular ones at Capri. This one's less popular, and you'll see that square there. That's the Gardens of Certosa, which is a monastery which has been here for like 600 years. Not a monastery anymore, and we'll take a look at that as well. I think if the weather's like this, I'm going to try and do some indoor filming tomorrow, but this is just to give you an idea. But you can see how the Romantics loved it, because it's very sort of storm and stress. Okay, well, that might have been a high score on the Intrepid Stakes, but it was pretty intense, and I don't know whether any of that will be of any use or what have you. So I'm sort of drying off now, really. On the plane on the way over, I did start reading this the other day. I started reading The Weight of Numbers by Simon Ings, and this is, so far, I'm about, let me see, how far am I? I'm in 170 pages in. It's very readable, which he's not usually. He's usually quite chewy and difficult, but he is great. And I got this second hand from eBay because I knew it would get in a state on the plane and what have you, because I do need a big chunky novel for the sort of lonely moments, as it were, because the video is at home. And yeah, it's really good, and I'd like a really nice copy in this livery. I do have another one which I bought at the same time. They were like £2 a piece, but I'm after a sort of pristine unread one, really, depending on what I think of it, of course, but so far it's good. So I'm just going to dry off for a while and relax a bit. I'm going to have a shave, because of course I didn't shave this morning because I got up at 2. I shaved before I went to bed last night, as you do, and I just think I'll need to go out later on and have a pizza, but I want to wait until the weather slacks off a bit, and it will be quieter because the last sort of ferry leaves back from the mainland about 6 o'clock, so there'll be far fewer people around. So at least if it's wet, I should be able to find some dry spots to sit in or to shoot from or what have you, and we'll see, I guess. It goes dark this time of year in Capri about 8:15, so you know, if there's any good weather, I'll do some shooting then, but for now I'm just going to have a little read and dry off and sort of plan my next move, really. little way. So I'm leaving the hotel now. It's dried off a bit. It's about 5:15. We're going to go and have a pizza. So maybe we'll have a bit more success with the filming. Okay, well I've had a pizza now, so I feel a lot better. And as the sun is actually out, even though it's descended behind Monte Solaro, which is ahead of you, that's the 2,000 foot escarpment, and a Capri's up there. I thought I'd do a little walk around in case there isn't a chance if the weather stays bad, because it's supposed to be grim tomorrow as well. I love this tree. I always come and look at this tree. I just think it's fantastic. And these trees here as well. This is kind of the automotive hub of the island. This is where the few roads that it has come together. Up there, that hill, there's the Castellato, a very, very big private house, which was once a castle. And I've walked up there, but you can't get near it. And we're looking down now to Marina Piccolo, the small port, which we'll try and do a trip to in a few days' time. So yeah, so the video widow and I have actually climbed down there. We've walked down, there's a little bit where you've got to climb, and it was pretty hairy, I can tell you. It's called the Passaiatello, and it's the only way, well, it's not the only way, there is another way, there's a road of course, but it's the only other way up there. So yeah, so what you're seeing here, the road here next to the police car is the road down to Marina Piccolo. And then you can see there's some petrol pumps, as we used to say, and that little road there leads up to Anna Capri, and where the chap on the scooter is and the car, that's coming up from Marina Grande, the main port of the town. So we're going to do a little walk around and I'll talk as we go. It's probably going to be too noisy. That there is the police station. I think it's Carabinieri. That little roundabout is kind of the centre of the island in traffic terms, believe it or not. So yeah, because you can't really bring a car to Capri, you have to be a resident. So here we are, as you see, we're in the middle of the island, what they call the saddle, which is the sort of flattest part really. And over here we have, this is the northern aspect, and what you can see there is, yeah, that's the big one, that's Vesuvius. Under a leaden sky, not quite leaden, there's a bit of blue up there now. And then that's the Gulf or Bay of Naples, I prefer Bay. And you see more beautiful trees. So yeah, so if you stay in Anna Capri, you'll tend to get off the bus here. This is Capri Town, as the sign indicates. There's one of the buses there. They're very small, they're very cheap, it's €2 pretty much anywhere. It's quite strange actually being here without the good lady, and I am missing her. So, but this is a filming trip, and I think she'd sort of be fed up with me filming all the time, but I really am missing her. I won't sort of go anywhere without her again, I don't think. So it's not so nice on your own. So this is Via Roma, Rome Road of course, which is the sort of main road into Capri town from that hub. These little cars are called Appy carts, and you see them everywhere on Capri. You see them a lot in rural Italy generally. If you're wondering why the blue and white streamers are everywhere, apparently Napoli played a big game about 10 days ago and they won. I don't exactly know what it was, as I'm not a football sort of guy. Got this fantastic pink hotel here. You see a lot of very colourful buildings here, which is one thing I really love here. As I say, I've actually walked up via Castiglione to the Castellato, or at least as far as you can go, and there's some amazing houses up there. But there's nothing else really to see apart from the amazing views generally, as you see. So Yeah, Vesuvius. It goes off now and again, because the big one was AD 79, and best classical source for that is the letters of the younger Pliny, in which Pliny describes how his uncle, the elder Pliny, went out to sea in a boat to sort of see what was going on, and he lived nearer to Herculaneum, I think, so it's very much one of those things. He succumbed to the fumes, because of course it wasn't just solid, it was gas as well. If you like ceramics, the Amalfi Coast really is the place, believe you me. Trouble is, of course, is getting them back, but most of them ship worldwide, as they say. Whether they come in one piece is another matter, I'm sure they do. The last few years they've started having these bizarre statues here at the entrance to the Piazzetta in Capri, and the last one was a child with a pulley system pulling an elephant up, and I hated it. It was dreadful, and I'm not that keen on this one either, quite frankly. This is one of my favourite buildings on Capri, absolutely love it, and that gelateria bar and pasticceria there is Da Alberto, and I've had many a coffee and many a cannoli there, absolutely fantastic. And this is the Loggia with its view over the bay, and this is where you can get off the funicular. And this is where you can get off the funicular railway, which is only €2. I'll show you that another point. This isn't the ideal Capri evening, but it's shaping up a lot better than it used to. I'm going to walk around into the Piazzetta now so you can have a proper look. That's where I was sitting this afternoon. Yeah, the full cafe's opened in the 1930s, and if you watch the film of Curzio Malapati's The Skin, they've sort of dressed it as if it's the 1940s, it's the Piccolo Bar. The Grand Cafe, I've had many cocktails there. The white building is the church, which has been here for a very long time, and they reckon this was a marketplace in Roman times. And this is Bar Tiberia, which really has long been sort of like the gay hangout. I don't think a lot of tourists know that, but that's the sort of thing, really. So there we go. We're going to take a walk now down the main sort of shopping drag, which goes down Via Vittoria Emanuele, which is pretty much where my hotel is, the White Cat at Gatto Bianco.